After one full year with the iPhone 16 Pro Max, I can confidently say this is one of the weirdest reviews for a phone I've ever made. Normally as a tech reviewer, we get our hands on the product, the company tells us what's new or better, and then we all have our various ways of going out and putting those claims to the test. But the iPhone 16 series kind of broke that formula in a really big way. It kind of broke my brain too. See, this phone is actually a tale of two stories: the polished and refined hardware that Apple's always been known for, and the software. And only now, a full year later, do I feel I can properly tell both of those stories. First, let's go back to the very beginning. Last October, I set out to shoot a full week in the life with the iPhone 16 Pro Max in LA, and a lot of the activities we lined up were specifically to stress test the hardware. Now, the cameras are always a major focal point for me as a full-time creator, so for the first day of the trip, we made our way to downtown LA to see my glorious king, LeBron James, play in person. We sat pretty high up, so a lot of the game was filmed using the 5x telephoto lens, and overall, I was pretty impressed. I actually shot most of the footage on this trip using Apple's ProRes log setting, which is still the gold standard for mobile phone video quality in my opinion. The file sizes are still way too big though. Oh, and the Lakers ended up winning, so day one, off to a fantastic start. I've said it before and I'll say it again, these cameras have absolutely stood up to the test of time for me. These are still my go-tos if I need to shoot any phone video content for social media. My biggest wish list though is that I want to see the same camera quality across all of the main lenses and sensors instead of just on the main one. Beyond that though, the iPhone is still king for video for me. Now, let's talk about the battery life. For day 2 in LA, we met up with the homie Lo for a coffee and cameras event, and the main thing I wanted to see was how well the battery life got through a full day of use. The event was honestly so sick. The people behind the DangyCam project were the ones hosting, so there was a bunch of analog tech pretty much everywhere you looked, and if you know me, I'm pretty big on that type of thing.
These are nice. I get that like super DV look. Like it's crazy. Look at the zoom. Look at that. Look at that zoom. Then punch in. Bam. It's so sick.
Well into the day, my battery life was still going strong, which was honestly really impressive considering I was using it all morning for Uber and shooting content, and the bigger size of the Pro Max really comes in clutch for days like this one. After the meetup, we stopped by Lo's new studio in downtown LA, and we chatted a bit on our experiences using the new phone. I'm kind of curious, what are your thoughts so far with the battery life on this new phone?
Oh, it's so much better than before. I upgrade every year. I'm like Will. Honestly, like that's the only thing that made me keep the phone, because I probably would have returned it. I'd say like I get 2 to 3 more hours a day than before, and I'd never have to charge. Like I can go 2 days sometimes, and I consider myself a power user, so it's probably the best thing about the new phone. Because like personally, it's hard to be excited this year about the new phone. I think most people can agree about that, because I don't think I've used the control button more than once. But like in terms of just the battery life, because I think last year it was an issue. I know you could probably tell me.
Yeah, the 15 Pro Max was the first time they did a 3nm chip. What they ended up having to do to make the 15 Pro faster than the 14 Pro is they had to overclock the chip like at all times.
Yeah,
so like
the whole thing was a toaster.
It was so bad.
The iPhones have gotten so good, all of them, all the different models. This year, it's more so like those little things that someone that is a power user will understand, will see. It's not as exciting, but it's really nice that we do get that.
What are your thoughts on a case like this?
Dude, I wanted to order, this same case was in my cart for like the last 4 iPhones. Whether it actually protects it or not, it adds something and it looks cool. So it's like one of those rare cases that a design will enhance the phone rather than just kind of covers up everything. You just got this, right?
I did, yeah. I put it on this morning for the first time.
Dude, I'm surprised that it like stays.
It doesn't come off, yeah.
It depends how it wears, honestly.
That's what I'm curious about too.
Cause like, say you drop it and then like it starts to like flake off, and at that point it should be a $20 case, right? But if it wears well, then I don't see why it shouldn't be worth the price that it is. But this is sick.
And skip forward to present day, I honestly do think that the battery life and the thermals of the 16 series have been worlds better than they were on the 15 series. Part of this is due to a better optimized chip and a new glass formula that helps heat escape from the back of the phone much faster than before. And honestly, I think that these two lesser known features on the 16 series ended up being some of the biggest lifestyle improvements for the average user. It's the small details. Now, we can't talk about the hardware on the 16 Pro Max without mentioning mentioning the infamous camera control button. This was obviously supposed to be the big new feature this year, and while I respect Apple for trying something new here, I don't think that I'm alone when I say I barely use this thing. In fact, while I was in LA, I managed to meet up with my good friend and fellow content creator, Rillo, and he had some thoughts on this too.
Honest opinions. The 16 Pro feels the exact same as my 15 Pro, outside of the camera control button, which is cool, but I never actually use it. I've used it maybe unironically once to change the depth of something on the aperture. Besides that, I think it's more or less not the best addition, feels kind of gimmicky as a feature. If they for some reason make this into a reconfigurable button, I think it'll go a long way, but otherwise get the 15 Pro. It still gives you Apple Intelligence. So
Are you using Apple Intelligence?
no, not yet. My home screen is still my normal home screen, except for now I don't have the emoji.
This looks a little bit better than what I remember from last time.
It's not as bad.
You still have a giant folder in the bottom right, which just feels like, I don't know.
That's everything I need, right
Your
where my
logic-
thumb lands. I'm telling you.
That's your logic, yeah.
This is perfect.
So when it comes to the hardware side of the 16 Pro Max, the bigger battery, better thermals, and improved cameras make for an overall really polished experience that I'm honestly a big fan of, camera control gimmicks aside. If my review were to end there, I'd say this was a 9 out of 10 experience and that this thing fully lived up to the hype that Apple promised, but unfortunately, that's where the other half of this story comes in. The software experience. Now, I'm not gonna harp too much on this point because I think we all kind of know how the whole Apple Intelligence topic turned out. A bunch of these features were advertised alongside these phones and many of them released months later, if at all, which is honestly the reason that this phone has been so hard to properly review. This was also the reason my full week in the life vlog was never released because many times throughout the trip I found myself unable to accurately test out the full software experience. Overall, aside from notification summaries and maybe visual intelligence, the AI features in iOS 18 just don't live up to the experience that you'd get with, say, a flagship Android device running Gemini. What iOS 18 did manage to bring, however, were some meaningful customization options like the ability to place icons anywhere on the home screen, which was, let's be real, it was a long time coming. And I'm really happy to see this trend of more customization continuing in this year's iOS 26 update, but that's gonna be a whole nother review for another day. But big picture, zooming out on all of this, I think that the iPhone 16 Pro Max was a fantastic refined hardware experience that was tainted by an overpromised and underdelivered software update that made this phone just not very exciting for the average person. I for one am excited to see where they go from here because if the rumors are true, the next few years for Apple are about to be very exciting. And,
Like, subscribe, comment, old man Joe.
yeah, a lot of people don't know. Like in the week in the life with the iPad vlog, this is old man Joe.
Will's older than me.
We don't have to get caught up in the weeds of it.